Once again, I really appreciate your insight on this. It's amazing. And your the way that you touch the system is a lot more than a lot of other people have, especially people that are being brought up in DSA to actually be low-cost labor. I know a lot of y'all kids out there working with DSA, right? Yeah, they're not listening to you. They're telling you to wait your turn. They're treating you very condescendingly. I know this because I've also worked with them as well, too. So I'm not saying they're all bad, but
the DSA, like, look at Crackhead Barney, right? The DSA will support what she's doing because she's, like, a great voice for their movement. But they won't let her near any of their functions. And you know why they won't let her near any functions? Because she's a wild card.
Yeah, she's too free with what
they don't know what she's gonna say next, so they literally blackball her from any function that Mamdani's at because they don't want her around Mamdani. So the DSA, I understand why somebody would want to join the DSA because the DSA does a very powerful thing, something that the right sucks at. They take the most marginalized person in the group and they make that most marginalized person in the group the figurehead of the group. And they push everything through that person, right? And it's a very powerful tactic. But if you don't agree with that groupthink, you will get thrown in the trash in a second. And another thing is like, if you look at what happened to Antonio Reynoso was a legit progressive in the city. I mean, he was responsible for taking down Rikers. He's responsible for bail reform. I mean, like he was like literally like he should be like in the Hall of Fame of progressives. And he, as Brooklyn Borough President and as a very popular and powerful figure here in New York City politics, he put his neck on the line to back Mamdani. And not a single thank you, nothing. Nydia Velasquez steps down, who was trash. Nydia Velasquez steps down, and they just run Claire Valdez and just totally like paint Reynoso as this old school like Chuck Schumer Democrat, and he was a trailblazer for them. That was a dirty move.
Not only that, but Claire Valdez also beat like Reynoso, a progressive. The other one was Darlisia also beat out what's his name?
SBI.
I'm not really promoting SBI. He was corrupt, but the thing is that also he had backed Mamdani as well. But if you're really right, a lot of the DSAs moving forward saying, oh, we're the ones protecting Palestine. Really, Grace Meng was the most important race in that one, but they did not endorse Chuck Park. It's about the ability to control the movement. They will actually kneecap other people who are considered to be, competition. So that's why you could see like a lot of Republicans here in New York City might say we're America first, not Israel first, right? And the thing is that DSA wants nothing to do or even acknowledge any of the Republicans because it's not about winning. It's about controlling the movement, and they're the ones who get to be, right, the controllers.
And I mean, I don't know if you saw, there was a video going around. There's a woman, Michelle, in Astoria, and Catherine Nolan, she stepped down as state assembly in Astoria. In 2022, she retired, and the race opened up. So she reaches out to the Republican brass in Queens, the Queens GOP, and was like, hey, listen, I want to run here in my home district. I want to throw my hat in the ring. Nobody's running. Can I run? And Joanne Ariola, the head of the Queens GOP at the time, is like, well, you live in Astoria. We want you to run in Woodside. And she's like, I have a house here. Nobody's running here. Why can't I run? We're not going to support you there. We're going to support you to run in Woodside. And she was just so turned off by how stupid the conversation was, she gave up. Turns out, Mamdani comes out of the woodwork, and he runs in that election as a Democrat and runs unopposed. And Michelle was somebody who had a little bit of coin behind her. She could have put on the map what a commie Mamdani actually was back then. But the Republican brass at the time protected Mamdani so he could run. Okay?
There's a lot of background shenanigans going on, folks. You heard it here. That's what's up.
Eric Ulrich said it best in an interview when he said it's inside baseball. And it is inside baseball. And you know, if so I guess what we were saying earlier is with the DSA is like the DSA might make you feel good, and they're such an organized group and they have power. Like you might want to bend the knee to the DSA a little bit, and maybe you think you're going to get somewhere. The second you kowtow to those people, you're turning your back to the devil. They will absolutely, like, look what happened to Cuomo. Cuomo did it. Not that I think abortion should be part of politics at all, but Cuomo pushed it all the way to, you know, late-term abortions. He did every single thing that the DSA wanted, and they shat all over him. Tish James is next. If you don't think Tish James is going to get the boot from these people, she's going to get the boot. Kathy Hochul is going to get any single one of these people that aren't them and wants to cater to them, it will come back and bite them in the ass. But then we have the Republicans, right? John Castimedes, who runs 770 ABC, another person, we talk about Dave Smith. Dave Smith is an angel compared to this guy. John Castimedes is a billionaire, and everyone in the Republican brass in New York City is like, John Castimedes is going to save us. This guy goes out and fires Rudy Giuliani and hires Anthony Weiner and Andrew Cuomo. This guy gave Andrew Cuomo a radio show. If you look at where Castimedes has his Gristedes groceries in Manhattan, conveniently, every single one of them is right next to public housing. And conveniently, those businesses are structured to collect food stamp money. That guy's whole entire wealth portfolio is built on making money off of the Great Society and Democrat systems that are slush funds for billionaires, financial bypasses for billionaires that were set up in place. If you want to get, you know, like, I really think that Castimedes and 770 ABC and that faction are so bad at losing the culture war that they're doing it on purpose.
You know, Castimedes was also a former donor to Hillary Clinton, stuff like that. So at the top, they're all working together, like we said earlier, right? The Queens Republican Party seems to have stepped out of the way for Zoran, stuff like that. You can't trust anything you see in the news. I would like to say trust the people that's been with you, not the ones that they give you, because there's a lot of fake stuff going on. So look, I'm a big fan of yours, to tell you the truth. I'm glad we're just, I know you've been busy, right? Hard to get a hold of you, right? Sometimes, but you do respond when I do hit you up. Thank you so much for that. Look, you guys can follow a lot of things, but you need to follow people like this. Huck, do you have like any way that people can follow you? Have a website or any social media?
No. But I will say that this is going to be a rabbit hole. But I think people are finally starting to pay attention to these data centers, and that data centers take up a lot of water. And they do. Last week, while Mamdani was announcing that you can only keep the air conditioner to 78 degrees.
The city stuff is set to 60.
Yeah. The Federal Court of Appeals just backed up the All-Electric Act for the entire state of New York. And people go, oh, gas stoves, it's gas stoves, it's gas stoves. But they're not really looking at what it really is. What it really, really is they are...
It's a giveaway to the electric industry.
It's a giveaway to the electric industry. And what they're doing is they're forcing any new home in New York State to be heated with air conditioning. So think about on the hottest day of the year. Now think about on the coldest day of the year. And you're actually going to be heating with air conditioning in reverse. How insane that is, especially in upstate New York. It's crazy. So, what does that have to do with water, right? Okay. You mind if I just rant for a minute?
Please, yeah. This is all relevant. This is actually
This is
This really
this
takes
is
the
going to be
environmental activism a lot.
it's really going to be hard to keep up with, but I'm just going to let it rip. Back in 2017, there was a thing that from the days of DeWitt Clinton when he did the Erie Canal, there was a thing called the Canal Corporation. And the Canal Corporation was like an MTA, a public benefit corporation, that was there in place to steward over all the water from Lake Erie to the Hudson River. And that corporation was absorbed by the New York Power Authority in 2017. In 2017, just before Trump's inauguration, while Joe Biden was president, those shell companies from China in the James Comer report, money to the big guy, that money, those millions of dollars, were sent to Rosemont, Seneca, which Seneca is the big lake that connects Lake Erie to Lake Ontario through the Erie Canal, Hudson West to LLC, Owasco Holdings, Gatito Holdings, all these bodies of water in New York State. And it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And remember, Hunter is with Burisma Holdings and all the gas stuff.
Hunter Biden?
Yes.
Okay.
Geopolitically, the reason why we had that war and the reason why the EU and America got involved with that war in Ukraine more than anything else was to isolate Russia from Europe, to cut off all the gas lines, to force Europe onto a whole new energy. Saudi Arabia, believe it or not, the world's biggest oil giant, is the most aggressive country in converting their whole entire nation over to a hydrogen economy. They're all going to be run off of hydrogen. Okay. Europe, aggressive. They're so aggressive. Look it up. There's conferences, there's laws, there's countries that are getting sued for not upgrading their infrastructure. Here in Brooklyn, the North Brooklyn pipeline that was so racist, what people don't realize is in the verbiage here, like, oh yeah, it's going to be hydrogen too. So they create this all-electric bill. And it's not an all-electric bill. It's a fossil fuel ban. Because there's no way electric is going to be able to heat all of New York City. And the gas stoves, I know it's going to be hard to keep up with. The gas stoves, right? You have all these gas lines throughout these buildings going all over the place. Hydrogen, which they're going to replace gas with, is a high-pressure gas. So they're getting rid of your gas stove and making you go to electric. So you have one high-pressure gas line straight to your boiler, and your boilers run off of hydrogen. That's really why they're doing it. So, why is this a thing? Why is this a thing? Europe, they went crazy to protect their fresh water. Greenland has 10% of the world's fresh water. That's why Trump wanted it, because he wanted to cut the EU off from going to hydrogen, okay? All this nonsense. If you hear of all this stuff where the solar panels, these international companies are coming upstate and installing solar panels. International companies are coming and they're putting in wind with these wind farms and all this stuff. And you're like, why are you putting solar farms in upstate New York? Why are international companies putting solar farms in upstate New York? I'm going to tell you why. The Paris Accords have strict protocols by 2050, which seems far away, but it's right around the corner, that basically the whole world needs to be run off of hydrogen. South America, Asia, like Japan's aggressively doing it. Namibia and Africa is a huge hydrogen hub. Like I said, Saudi Arabia, huge hydrogen. India going huge hydrogen. China, huge hydrogen. They're all going hydrogen. But all these countries also carefully protected their water. And their fresh water is not allowed to be taken for hydrogen harvesting. Hydrogen comes from, there's something called green hydrogen. But hydrogen, is the most abundant element in the world. But in order to make hydrogen for energy, you need to take fresh, clean water. You need to electrolyze it, nuke it, make a big solar panels and just electrocute the crap out of it to split the atoms, right? So these protocols have green hydrogen. So upstate, next to Lake Erie, next to Lake Ontario, they have been building these massive solar farms and these massive wind farms because this company, NYPA, the New York Power Authority, who's in the business of selling energy, opaquely took over New York's water supply, which New York's water supply, we have 2 Great Lakes. We have some of the most fresh water in the world. The CCP was in bed with Kathy Hochul and Andrew Cuomo in 2017 while this deal was going through. Why do you think Trump's in the Strait of Hormuz trying to take over the whole entire oil trade? Because he's trying to cut this off and stop them and flood the whole entire AI energy sector with oil before they get onto hydrogen. But why is this such a big deal? It's our water. What people don't realize is that our water, and they now have an eye on it with data centers, so I'm a little confident to talk about it. Our water is sourced by the globalists, and Mamdani was on the energy committee. He knows this intimately. And not only was he on the energy committee, every single time Saudi royalty was in Washington, D.C., Mamdani made a quick visit to Washington, D.C., okay? I'll put it out there right now, okay? The North Brooklyn pipeline was designed to go to Greenpoint, which is on the Newton Creek, which is an international barge. They are building pipelines right now to take water out of the Great Lakes, nuke that water with these new solar farm electric and new wind farm electric so they could call it green hydrogen and ship the hydrogen all around the world internationally and supply the whole new green energy economy. And that is coming from our water. It's coming from our water. And, you know, it's like 10 years out, so people are like, I mean, I went around in 2018 going, deeds, not leases. The commies are trying to take over the property, and everyone thought I was crazy. They, globalists, are taking over New York State's water supply and turning it into hydrogen, and we're going to get nothing for it. And why would they do this? Because could you imagine if you create with your hedge fund a whole new energy sector that comes from water you can get for free out of the ground, how much money you're going to make? So I know that's confusing for a lot of people. I know I lose a lot of people. I was in the heating industry for a long time, so my mind, can wrap around these things. But I'm telling you, that is where my activism is going, because we are going to go to a hydrogen economy in September in Northport, Long Island, at the Brentwood power plant, which they already piloted it. The power plant can run off of full hydrogen right now. They're going to be having an event. This is happening. This is rolling out. And,
you should start a Substack to break all this down so people can go back.
Our water in New York State is about to become the world's next energy source. I should have just said that.
They've been lining this up for a long time. It makes a lot of sense from the other things that I've seen. So I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
God bless you. Right. Hey, check out. So where can people follow your work? Honestly.
I think is it Dan Cristmann or Daniel Cristmann on Instagram? I don't know. Listen,
I'll put it in below. Yeah.
Yeah. You put it below.
Have a website or something like that. Or maybe a Substack. Write your stuff.
Listen, I just want to live my life, man. I'm getting back to plumbing. I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? I'm tired of it. I put my whole neck out on the line for all these people, and nobody, only you learn who your real friends are.
People like fake stuff. They like fake flavors.
Only a few people showed up for me when I was in trouble. So I'm not going to sit there and waste the few years I have left on this planet on you idiots. No offense or anything.
One thing, just so you know about the anarchist movement, which I consider myself part of. I was back in the 80s, 90s. And the thing is that all these intellectuals and academics came over and started speaking for the movement. They don't really truly represent the anarchist core base. They actually are a subset of people with access and affluence. And these same people are also taking over the socialists from what I see, right? They're not. There's a lot of people, I think, who mean well who join the socialists, but they're actually subjugated and kept as almost like low-cost labor for the academics and the affluent people.
Yeah, I mean, so that will sum up the DSA and the Antifa and the this and the that. Is they actually co-opt words, right?
Absolutely.
They co-opt words. Anarchist is a complete abolition of any control system.
Yeah.
You know, the few times that we've actually had anarchy in this city are on 9/11 when we were all walking home, the night of the blackout, and maybe some of the nights during the BLM riots, right? Like the cops are way too preoccupied. You get away with whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Those are the few times in New York City that we actually had anarchy. Anarchy is not, you know, the DSA is all about surveillance. You don't see them doing anything to stop the surveillance state. The DSA wants you audited up your ass on every little thing you do. They want to get rid of cash. You know, anarchy is about freedom. Anarchy is about no government whatsoever. Anarchy is the antithesis of socialism and the DSA and everything they stand for. So when they take those words like anarchy, you know that they're co-opting words. And that is a pattern in pretty much every little thing they do, including tax the rich. Taxing the rich isn't taxing them. Taxing the rich is taxing us. Taxing the rich is propaganda to raise more taxes on any of us.
Thank you so much, man. It's been an honor being with you. Yeah, God bless. Thank you.
Thanks.
Holla if you hear me. Straight from the streets of New York City, it's DJ Elf 7.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Actually, the Greater Chamber of Commerce of New York, and I'm actually excited because this is a groundbreaking story right here. So first of all, I'm going to cover who are you guys? Can you tell me a little bit about yourselves?
First of all, I'm Mark Jaffe, president of the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce, and this is my good friend and a passionate advocate for everybody. He started with the Hispanic community. Frank Garcia is the chairman of the Multicultural Business Coalition.
The reason why we're here today is to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that we've had as ethnic chambers or immigrant businesses right now. The issue with the mayor for us is that he's trying to compete with our own members. Our members cannot compete with someone that's going to create these neighborhood grocery stores and not pay rent, not pay taxes, no insurance. They're even going to get waivers for labor and for others.
The stores are intended to operate without a profit motive and would be exempt from rent and property taxes. Now, those savings would then be passed on to customers to make basic items like eggs and bread more affordable.
At our stores, eggs will be cheaper. Bread will be cheaper. Grocery shopping will no longer be an unsolvable equation.
All our supermarkets, most of them are union. So how are you going to hurt union supermarkets and that are ethnic supermarkets that are Korean, that are Latino, that are Indian, and are creating millions of good paying jobs? To eliminate it just to make a campaign promise, to me, is not what he said. He said he was going to bring down the cost. There's other ways that we could bring down the cost. We created a group purchasing organization, the first minority one, to buy directly from farmers in Latin America and the Caribbean. Trump was talking a lot about how can we create opportunities for people that don't have a voice. His daughter started this program, and I'm continuing and getting the major corporations. In December, we're going to Colombia to create the first trade mission to help directly with no middleman and bring down the cost. Those are solutions that the mayor should be working with us. He will not meet with us. With this program that we're doing in Friday's press conference, our focus is to give a voice to the supermarkets that the mayor has bulldozed this proposal with no community involvement. He has not support the ethnic community that he said that we voted for him. My people voted for him, unfortunately, and now he's showing his true colors. This supermarket that they're proposing is where my grandfather started the first Puerto Rican bodega in the 1950s. He was head of the Latin Grocery Association. He must be rolling on his grave right now for them to put this in our sacred ground, being Puerto Rican, in the Marqueta, where the first Puerto Ricans came. That's an immigrant area. And for him to do that, just hurting the Mexican businesses that now are in that area and not going to them first, to us is a concern.
I do have another question. There's probably a lot of people who hear about the city grocery store and they think that it's a way to help the poor. What do you think are some of the most common misconceptions about this whole entire, project?
Well, first, and Frank has heard from his people, we've heard from a number of people, from the size of John Castamatidis, grocery stores, all the way down to the individual. One of our members, Ruben Luna, owns 18 key food stores. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He started with one, worked his way up. We've spoken to him. He's a member of the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce, and he's going to support this rally because he knows that when the city spends $30 million, and that's way too much to open a grocery store, nobody would spend that kind of money. And these are people in the business, and they have to go through all the obstacles and barriers that the city presents. So something's wrong with the number of dollars being spent, and as Frank mentioned, they're tax dollars. So why would you not incentivize successful business owners that are feeding these areas now instead of trying to crush their back and compete with them? I don't believe anybody involved with this endeavor, if they were spending their own money, would do it this way. It's totally wrong, and it probably will never open up. And if it does, what a shame.
They already tried this in Kansas City 4 times, and finally they gave it to a Hispanic owner to run it, and they're having issues. So if it didn't work in Kansas City, it didn't work in Cuba. This socialist type of environment is not good for our businesses. When my grandfather started the first Puerto Rican bodega, he wanted a dream for all of us to be able to do more than him. For what they're doing right now, hurting the local immigrant supermarkets, when he said he wanted to help minority businesses, when he wanted to be a voice for us, what he's doing is bullying us and not allowing us to have a voice. And on Friday, we will have a loud voice with our members. We are inviting the Korean business community. We're inviting all my Chinese counterparts. This is the first time that publicly we all come together. Hopefully, after this press conference, he will sit down with us. Supposedly, we met with the speaker on Friday. She owned a small mom and pop grocery store, so she understands the margins are very small.
As the president of the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce, the same thing Frank's hearing from his broad coalition. And we have many members in common. We were selected by the Small Business Administration as one of the top 10 business groups in the United States. Why? Because our focus is on the entrepreneur, the startup, and the small business. And they need our help. And this opening of a supermarket, way overpriced. Obviously, nobody involved with this knows how to run a supermarket, or you would not be spending that much money.